This is a public announcement. You are cordially invited to join us in a rousing rendition of Kumbaya. 2, 3, 4. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya.
Things are looking surprisingly clean in the studio tonight. There's a sheen on the surfaces of the desks, and the controls look like, well, they look like someone has taken everything apart, polished every single part with a soft cloth, and then carefully reassembled them. The walls are clean, the floors are very clearly freshly mopped. Even the ceilings look like they've been given a once-over, though oddly there appears to be some kind of foam stuck to the ceiling in places. And as for the chairs, at first glance you might think they've been replaced. Gone are the sweaty marks and questionable stains that used to adorn their plush surfaces. In fact, it is only when a presenter sits down with a damp, squelching sound and a sudden, let's go with distressed look on their face does it become clear what must have happened. Well, at least we know that the emergency fire suppression system in Studio 5 works. And next year, maybe you'll remember not to use the quite so many candles on Sandy Crevice's birthday cake. The presenter leans forward, trying not to think about the dampness spreading through their nethers, presses a squeaky clean button and says,
"Our mics are live."
Good evening, I'm Sandy Crevice, and I don't think that's fair. I'm your Harkness, and you are not the one sitting on it.
Well, I for one think that the sensors are way too sensitive.
Well, if you ask me, it's the tech monkey who's too sensitive. Here's the headlines.
Pilots take to the slopes as they declare they're far from bored.
Cheerleading Thargoids take time for barnacles.
Too hot, too messy, update 15.
Orthodontist to orthodontist, Remlock aims to keep you clean.
It's a stretch like you've never seen before.
After a week off, it's time for the BGS.
First this evening, we're starting with a little sports news. Whilst all the dangerous looking and sounding shenanigans are going off in the galaxy, sometimes it's worth taking a little time for leisure. And what's more leisurely than tuning in the television to one of the dangerous sports channels to see people doing astonishing stunts competitively, in the hopes, of course, that one of them is going to come a cropper and everyone can cheer. This week sees the opening of applications to enter the Galactic Hoverboard Stunt Championships. Held on a relatively low G world, and using the latest in load lifting and high-speed tech, competitors go racing down steep escarpments, performing stunts, jumps, loops and tricks to the amazement of the crowd. The scoring systems are complex, but last season's winner, Alec Turner, appears to be the bookies' favourite to win the downhill speed race, the hoverboard to orbit jump challenge, and the slalom. Fresh entrant this year, Commander Wotherspoon, has been seen sporting the latest board technology. Sponsored by the Pilots Federation, along with a very fetching livery. He's hoping his big air and gnarly low-G tricks will be enough to impress the judges. There are no confirmations yet as to where the board veteran, Adel Weiss of Live Radio, will be reprising his stunt routine from 7 years ago. Clad in his orange onesie and performing everything from a low-G triple Lutz to his inimitable crashing sidewinder signature trick. The last attempt won him the gold at the Galactics and a trip to the infirmary for traction. But after several years of therapy, everyone's eager to see him return. Hutton have been offered a place in the championships, though as the boards have no trucks, and Hutton's all about trucks, we're not sure if the entire episode will end in plaudits and prizes, or a quick "Oops, I've got red on me," and shouts of "Medic!"
Rumours of impending doom are still impending. And the pending arrival of whatever it is that's heralded by those big super space swirly Stargoid things is very much at the forefront of everyone's minds. Fresh from the unbelievably bleeding obvious translation of the Thargoid roar as "Hang on, we're on our way," it appears that Tharg the Mighty's mighty minions have formed a cheerleading team who have stopped for victuals en route to the bubble. The California and Coalsack nebulas are literally littered with barnacle sites, and, as everyone knows, Thargoids and little Tharglets are often to be found popping in for a quick barnacle mariners and a glass of ammonium chloride, sugar-free of course, for the kids. It appears that, unlike previous incursions, these Thargoids are just there to take in the sights and for a quick snack as of yet they've not trashed the place, burned anything or attacked the locals, which Professor Palin has postulated is proof positive that they are not football fans. How they behave when they enter the truly inhabited human space is anyone's question, but many systems have been boarding up their windows, closing early for the weekend, and indeed have the anti-zero hotline on speed dial. Our recommendation, in keeping with Hutton's oft-quoted mantra of "be excellent to each other," is that unless the Thargoid is actively trying to eat your face, stick its probe somewhere uncomfortable, they'll spread green goo all over your ship, then stay well clear and do whatever you do. Don't scream, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough, as it's very likely that they are. Rumours that the successors to Salvation and Azimuth are coming up with gigantic space equivalents of a rolled-up newspaper and a big slipper with which to issue a wicked whacking are as of yet unconfirmed, though we did see a prototype of a meta-alloy-powered hand cannon in a local store. Well, it was a green Nerf gun, but they had a really good marketing.
Too Hot, Too Messy has now been going for 15 weeks, and with Update 15, we're now one ahead of Odyssey. Ha! Go us. Of course, you'll know by now that Too Hot, Too Messy is the Hutton-led initiative to deliver mugs and Centauri Megagin to every single station in the galaxy. This week, commanders have continued to drop off mugs and gin and have done this more than 36,000 times. Delivery numbers are slightly down, with the weekly rates under 1,500 deliveries in the last couple of weeks, so get stocked up, get involved and keep the momentum going. Remember, every mug counts, and you may just win a real mug by taking part. 7 more commanders joined the effort in the last couple of weeks, taking the total to 229 pilots, spread across 75 squadrons, and of course, more are always welcome. Naturally, Hutton are blazing away at the head of the squadron leaderboard, delivering a collective tally of over 15,000 deliveries. The Wing Hussars are in second with over 2,000 muggings, and the Paladins are holding third with almost 1,400. Honourable mentions this week go to the Burpit, who took 6th, Kesnick from the Fathered Pioneers in 9th, and the Buckyball Racers in 11th. Yeah, him, that guy, still out in front with over 3,100 mugs and gin delivered, despite having a few days off. Some say that he's taken his mum out to lunch every day this week. However, he's still being chased down by Waller81 and Nem, who have been swapping second place for third all week with over 2,400 deliveries. Commander Mouse 8287 hasn't moved for several weeks, but is fourth with Infinite Dreamer in fifth, only 30 behind. 5 commanders have now delivered more than 1,000 mugs. How do we know all this? Well, because it's tracked by the marvel that is the Hutton Helper and updated live on the Too Hot, Too Messy event page at hot.forthemug.com/hotmess2. At this rate, we'll have delivered a canister of Hutton mugs and Centauri Megagin to every station in the galaxy by... Well, we aren't really going to speculate on a precise end date as we find more and more stations each week. The list has grown by 26,000 to over 204,000. Apart from the glory alone, there's an additional incentive in the form of a chance to win a real-world gravity-assisted Velcro-free mod-preventing Hutton mug that you can fill with tea, gin, or whatever you like as you happily take a Hutton mug to where no Hutton mug has gone before. Any commander that delivers 10 mugs and gin in a week will be entered into that week's draw to win a real Hutton mug. Yes! Unless, of course, you already have one, in which case you'll already been immunised against mods. 14 commanders have accomplished this so far. You can see a little golden mug next to their names in the top commanders list table, and keep listening for this week's winner, which will be announced in the banter bit after the news. How do I join in the fun? I hear you ask. First, you need to sign up by downloading the Hutton Helper from hot.forthemug.com/download, where your mug and gin deliveries will be automatically registered for you by Antarius Fusion's arithmetical rodents.
Sanitation of the personal variety is something that some space truckers take very seriously. Of course, there are always a few for whom a daily shower is optional and treat their personal odours as a chemical experiment in personal space protection. But for everyone else, keeping yourself clean and shiny whilst out in the black is very important. The latest development from Remlock Systems strays from their keeping you alive in space technology of recent decades and into the personal grooming for the pilot on the go. Their latest addition to the Super Remlock equipment, not available for sale yet, is the inclusion of a sonic shower, biowaste recycling feature, razor, aftershave dispenser and fully robotic dental setup. With a simple command, your helmet can snap shut and you can have a quick 3S wash and brush up. That's a wild one with that. The dental cleaning equipment inserts itself into your mouth, crawling around the inside and cleaning every crack and crevice. The razor leaves you with a chin smoother than the hull on an Imperial clipper. And of course the aftershave dispenser leaves you smelling delicious. Hey, what's all this aftershave? What about some nice perfume? For those who prefer the makeup version, it is a full eyebrow plucker, pucker painter and foundation application pad that can have you looking your best in minutes. The products are not yet on sale after a few abortive early release versions were sent to famous galactic streamers and clips appeared online of things going slightly awry. The Mr. Brushy dental kit in one video is seen accidentally deploying, forcing its way into the mouth of a terrified pilot before causing his gag reflex to paint the inside of his helmet green. One uncensored video of the shaving kit looks like a bad Hammer horror film, more reminiscent of the Sweeney Todd than it is one of those Christmas aftershave adverts filled with sexy people and moody lighting. And then there's the Mr. Blushy makeup fitment, which appears to have taken his anatomical accuracy from a Picasso painting. Whilst Hutton Chuckers are all for the latest in whiz-bang gadgetry, the videos are enough to convince us that a quick trip to the facilities at Hutton after docking for a shower and a quick spray of Space Link's unisex version is perfectly good enough for now.
Fashion designer and clothier to the stars out amongst the stars, Eddie Lee Wise and Sons, Blusses Delaces, have launched their latest winter clothing range this week. The latest fabrics with embedded nanomaterials are reminiscent of the kind of things about in the 1960s with tie-dyed shirts, or later in the 1980s with thermally reactive garments that change colours when your body temperature shifted. Their version, however, changes colour when stretched, stressed and generally pulled in various directions. For gym bunnies everywhere having their bum blush at the gym when putting in those squats during leg day, or big guns glow red when flexing in front of the mirror, this is the ultimate way to show off your figure. There are, however, a few unintended consequences. Wear one of those fabric shirts in a big Hutton night out with your mates for a Hutton meet and meet dinner, and you'll notice that as they scoff their way through mountains of Kobe beef, their distended bellies change from dark blue to purple to pulsing red. Or, for visitors to Wonders, just one look at some of the acrobatic and energetic looking personal massage services on offer is enough to have your patented colour stretched trousers broadcast your physical reaction in embarrassing ways. There are, however, a few practical issues. Beaches and water worlds have taken to using them for their safety flags, noting the correlation between it being a bit windy out and surfs up or blowing a hoolie, and really wouldn't go in the water. Of course, you could just stick your head outside, and if your hairdo attempts to do an impression of a haystack in seconds, it's probably not an idea to go for a dip, instead of waiting for the wind to stretch the fabric from calm green to panic red. Delivery companies have taken to using the fabric's properties to automatically display the words "really bloody heavy" when bags and sacks are full, which of course is the same thing as when truckers have their dinner, as mentioned a minute or two ago. As Eddie Lee Wise says when you're going for your measurements, stretch please.
Well, wasn't last week a good week to take a break from the BGS? Wars, pestilence, broken economies. Oh, crikey, it's almost like we've gone way back to the 21st century. This week, while still busy on the BGS front, things are a little less fraught, with just a couple of outbreaks, a mere couple of droughts, an infrastructure failure. More on those stories coming up. Bottom of the heap this week, and by some margin, is Barnard's Star on 32. However, in breaking news, the infrastructure failure has been lifted and citizens are now both elated and able to go about their business of, well, being mediocre. Currently, an election is drawn at 2-2, which is tying up a third of the influence, so wait until at least the weekend until you try to shift some influence there. Next is Stein 2051 on 37, which is still recovering from the war Hutton won earlier in the week. In a mirror of Barnard's Star, an election is tying up a quarter of system influence and being drawn at 2-2. Wait until the weekend before you try to improve matters. Just above Stein 2051 are the other pair of subpar systems this week. Epsilon Indy is suffering from an outbreak, and poor little war-weary Avic, a point above it on 38, has a pending outbreak. So, find an easily accessible station selling medicines and get busy eradicating those outbreaks by shipping them in by the T9 load. This could be tricky, as Wolf 359 is in infrastructure failure, and the best of the only other two candidates with decent levels of supply and a mere 18 light years away is Feynman Terminal in Britsameno. But this is a 1355 light second schlep from the jump point. Still, it's better than 115,000 to Buckley's City and Mill Deptu. Wolf 359, normally our reliable go-to system for all things industrial, is broken. Well, its infrastructure is, so ship in power generators and water purifiers to relieve the brokenness. Ross 671, recently on the road to ruin, seems to have had a good look into its bloodshot eyes in the mirror, scraped a hand over its stubble, had a stern word with itself, and has resolved to turn itself around after its recent spectacular decline, and now sits on a respectable 44. We have droughts in two systems, Luyton 145-141, which isn't a problem since it's in the 60s and could do with a little cooling off. The second system is PSPF-LF2, which is more of a problem, as it can be a little irritating when Pislaps is dry. At the overachieving end of the Hutton Systems table, we have 4 systems above 60%, and we are likely to expand from Haghole, which is lucky since the only non-native, non-controlling faction in a very nice system we've had our eye on for a while are about to lose an election, which will put them right where we want them. Priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, relieve the outbreaks in Epsilon Indy, then Avic, and then after the weekend, boost Barnard's Star and Stein 2051.
Well,
Was that seamless?
so far.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, just nod, apology, officer. There's no need to say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody missed any cues or anything. It was all seamless.
No.
Well, there was almost there was an unmuting of a microphone at the very last second there.
Who did that?
Seamless.
The
I was
perhaps-
listening. I was listening to Helen reading the story. I thought, "Oh, that's good. That's interesting." I'm listening. Oh,
You don't listen to other people's stories, do you?
I did tonight. I wouldn't make that mistake again.
Nobody will
So
flick it.
anyway, I have to ask the question: was there a Frontier live stream?
Well, there was.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was.
I saw the first 40 minutes of it.
And it was a live stream 21 today with Arth and Bruce.
Arth
Not a whole Bruce.
very
Arth
good.
and Bruce. It's like
I thought
Oaken,
the whole Bruce.
Oaken Bruce. No, Arth and Bruce.
Dick Garrido.
Yeah, there was.
Dick Garrido and Captain Beard.
And I I had to check, so I went back onto Galbook and I found the thing that said, "Oh yeah, join us for news of update 14." I'm thinking, "Oh yes, update 14, yes."
Yay!
You know, the big Kermit the Frog,
Lots
flap
of-
your hands around, and well, there wasn't much about him anyway. We'll come on to that later. Usual paint jobs. So we had pictures. I wasn't here last week, but 2 weeks ago we had pictures of the Topaz and Autumn Topaz and Autumn Sapphire paint jobs. And they were ready for the Cobra last time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Cobra DBX or something. Yeah.
yeah, the DBX as well. That's right. This week they were for the Asp X. Well, I assume it was the aspects, not the
It was
scout.
the aspects, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who flies an AF scout anyway? What's the point?
Hang on, I've got one of those.
Well, yeah, I know.
Did
But
you
what's
fly
the
it, though?
What's the point?
Not for a while, no, I have to say.
What's the
not for a
point?
while.
Mind you, you can ask yourself, what's the point of having rudders in space? But there you go.
Yeah, there is that, yeah.
And what they did say is they, and I noticed there's an item in the banter which will come on to in a little while. They were saying people were complaining, obviously, like they do in the chat, saying, "Well, what about this ship and what about that ship?" So they've been doing obviously these paint jobs for the more popular ships, the Pythons, the Anacondas, the Cobras, the
Yeah, the ones people actually use.
Yeah, they're the ones I fly anyway. And you wouldn't put one of those paint jobs on a cutter. Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
That's exactly why
you would if you were a diehard federal.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some Arissa trolling.
Flying through Summerland.
Don't you mean Autumnlands?
Yeah, so they are going to start polling people, I imagine, at some point to say, your suggestions, please, for less popular ships.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little story at the end of the banter about that. So they had Super Current News, and then kind of just handed it over to what Arf referred to as the Galnet News Network. And of course, he meant the Galnet News Digest.
Oh, okay.
Who read the news so that Frontier didn't have to.
It's what they do.
It was like...
Was it Multitude of Beetle Spoon?
And afterwards, Bruce said they were sounding... Where is it?
A lot more professional.
A lot more professional than we do, he said.
Well, it's a low bar, really, isn't it? Come on, let's face it.
Speaking of low bars, here we are. We are the low bar.
Is the low bar the one that even when you've fallen over, you can still reach your drink?
That's the one I think it's
that's the one, yeah. It's the bar that props you up.
Yeah.
So, update 14.
Update 14. I am excited.
What's in it?
Well, we
Couldn't
don't.
say too much.
Well, lots and lots and lots. Loads of stuff in update 14. Unfortunately, we don't really know what they are. And it comes out. It'll come out is it the day before the next live stream? Whatever, the 17th. So the next one will be
2 days before.
So the next will be the 31st of November.
That famous date, yes.
That famous day, yeah. So
often celebrated as the 1st of December.
2 days. It's always a Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, the 31st of November.
So it'll come out 2 days before the next live stream. So they kind of missed their opportunity to tell us, and they teased us a little bit. They did reveal some of one little thing, which is a new Thargoid interceptor.
Oh, yes.
You fly around in it.
Well, we don't know. It does have a name, but they didn't tell us what the name was. It's just the new dog.
What's it look like then?
Saying an interceptor.
Well, we don't know.
Sounds more like a police program.
The only thing we
Where
know
can you
about,
find it?
Well,
we don't know.
We don't know. In space.
What does it look like? A big swirly Stargoid is what it looks like. Oh no!
It doesn't like being disturbed.
Well, they told us 3 things about it, didn't they? They said they're not very common. Okay.
Yeah.
So you won't come across them everywhere.
Everywhere in a week then.
No. Well, it remains to be seen. And like Flossy just said,
they would be found in very specific places, though, rather than just generally random.
Yes.
Didn't say what.
Didn't say what they were.
Yeah.
Like in your cargo hold. No. So Flossy just said there. Yeah, this thing doesn't like. It's not very common. It doesn't like being disturbed.
And you shouldn't feed it after midnight.
It reminds me of somebody. Quite a few people I know actually. And what happens if you do disturb it?
It can call for help.
Calls for help if it feels threatened.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Anyway, that's basically all we kind of gleaned about update 14. They did say there will be better Guardian AX weapons. And they're looking at ways to make them more available, but perhaps you won't get the very best weapons unless you sort of go through the whole sort of Guardian.
It sounds like some people are struggling to go through the Guardian loop, as they call it, to get the Guardian tech, to get the top weapons. So they're going to be boosting the AX standard weapons so that they're not quite as far behind the Guardian tech. Which, to be fair, would be quite useful in HIP 22460 when weird things happen to your Guardian tech. But
well, I'm still firmly on the side of don't shoot flower people.
Yeah, I still think don't shoot the flower people.
I think we've gone past that, unfortunately.
I think they're just misunderstood.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they were misunderstood, and now they've decided to be understood to be doing exactly what we thought they were doing in the first place.
Understood, yes. I think, I don't know, hopefully they bring out some other Guardian modules as well, rather than just the AX stuff, so...
I mean, the only steps I'm going to take with Guardian tech is my Guardian frameshift drive booster, and that's bloody big steps.
It's very useful for
I've got
Colonia.
Run away.
I was one of the very first people to go out when the thing launched, when the Sentinels arrived and those bases launched, and I went out scanning things and picking things up, because I was a proper Guardian geek back then. I picked up all the things, and at that time the obelisks were spewing out blueprints, Guardian weapon ship blueprints and all that kind of thing. So I've got loads of blueprints. They fixed it, but they decided not to take them off of people who had them. So I've always had a wee supply of them going. But I've kind of run out of things to use them on there. I do still enjoy going to a Guardian site and running about trying to get the bits while dodging Sentinels. It's
just fun, that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of the most casual players out there, but I've still unlocked all the Guardian tech just because it was fun to do.
Yeah. I haven't been in a Scorpion yet, though. I've been in the usual Scarab diving about, but I've not done it in a Scorpion, so that's maybe something to do when I get back.
One thing that's going to be before Update 13, I think it's next week, they're going to tweak the payouts for exobiology.
Oh yeah.
Now they tell us. So because they weren't that great. The I think the highest amount I ever saw was like 800K for a particular strata, but it wasn't mega money. It was something new to do and Dysonate and all the rest of it. So that'll be out, I think, next week.
Don't think I've Dysonated anything since beta.
Oh, I did. I just went straight out and did the whole thing. And,
I did do a bit of Dysonating, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't very confident running about with the suit on and things at that time, so I could do it now pretty easily. But then I was a bit worried about running out of air and thinking, oh my god, I'm down to 70%. I need to get back to the ship and all that kind of thing, So, yeah.
Well, it
was back in my early days of...
Yeah, I'm going to say I did Bio Elite in a bog standard Artemis suit, a level 1. It's you don't really need much for. I mean, I must admit, with Mav 4 with jump assist, it's like you're like Iron Man. You can just fly everywhere.
Especially in the OG.
And I've heard the Artemis suit is even better for that. So, so I'm just going to the. I mean, if you're looking at that picture of Arf doing his. Like what the, what's going on here, and you were wondering.
I thought he was juggling.
Yeah, yes, and you were wondering what that thing was in the middle of the desk. That mug, laptop, skateless board, cuddly toy, laptop, mug.
Yeah.
Wow!
Plank. It's a plank.
Didn't they do well? Anyway, that skateboard doesn't have wheels. Do we not? Do we not need wheels? Well, we saw the picture of Waterspoon earlier. Well, so as a Brucey bonus, some folks have been going back to the future dressed up as Marty McFly without all the weird, avoiding your mum trying to snog you nonsense, and have snagged themselves an Elite Dangerous Odyssey jock jacket. What do you call those jackets, Flossy?
Not a varsity jacket.
Yeah,
no, a letterman jacket.
What the heck's just a VAT.
They're called a varsity jacket.
I've had them called Letterman jackets.
And Amelia's got one as well, I believe.
I like the one I got, and I don't think it's I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with it being called a varsity jacket. They're still nice jackets.
Sounds too much like a university, and I never went there.
Well, if you don't want it, send it down.
Do they come in?
No, I like the jacket. It's just what you're calling it.
Do they come in tweed?
The jacket's lovely.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, but he wants a tweed one.
That's ridiculous, chicks. Why would you want a tweed skateboard?
well, it's more comfortable. You
It
can
would be all floppy.
wear it with your sheepskin slippers.
God. Tweets.
Anyway, what's this
Itchy.
all about? Well, here at Hutton, we are in the first tranche, amongst the first in a rather exclusive club at the moment, which is the Elite Partner Program.
Woo!
Woo, go us!
Ip.
What was that?
Ip.
I thought you got your fingers trapped in the chair.
I did. That's
so-
more of an eep.
Sounds like I don't know how many. There's probably like a dozen or so, maybe slightly
about
more. Streamers, radio stations, Twitchers. No, not looking at birds. No. YouTubers, etc. Sort of Lave Radio, Obsidian Ant, Psychic, The Buzz, Crispy Tater Tart. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head now, and I can't. Anyway, all those names that you spend time watching when you should be doing something more productive, probably. Well, they're going to have Twitch jobs, paint jobs, and stuff. So we'll see what that brings.
Ooh, do we get
So
Twitch drops?
Well, you might get Twitch drops for watching Hutton Orbital. We'll give you a nameplate or something. We'll watch it for 3 hours.
Can we keep going?
We need a
Keep
mug
going for 3
decal.
hours?
Ooh.
Oh, do you know what we should do? We should set one and it will go off after 1 minute 20. After 1 hour 22 minutes and 20 seconds. That's the current.
You mean like it?
That's the current.
So you don't ever get
run.
one when David's on.
No, because they roll every 28 days, so you'd get 4 weeks to make it up.
Ah, that's true. I did pick up 2 today. I don't know what they were. I think they were the Asp autumn paint jobs.
Yeah, but the 2 Asp ones.
Yeah.
Even I got them and I only caught the last 20 minutes.
Well, where are we? 17. Yeah, I must have started them at the beginning of in the last live stream.
They've been 15-minute ones recently, so it's only if you want the purple stuff that you need to listen to week
And
after
if you haven't
week,
got
show after show.
If you haven't got the purple stuff yet.
And once you've got the purple stuff, we don't need it again.
Where is
And
that?
again, and again.
Something like 7 or 8 sets of the purple stuff now.
Yeah, where is that purple rock you've been living under? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming back to what we said at the beginning about paint jobs, it was nicely linked onto that. Jim, what's going on? Is somebody having an election or a little poll?
Oh, yes. Well, one of the references that was made during the various bits about being discussed with ARF about what ships people would actually want to have paint jobs on, he seemed to think that there was a ship out there. Oh, I can't think what it's called. There's one of those ships that doesn't get an awful lot of press that he really likes. Was it the
the Challenger?
The Type 7, was it? Or
the Type 8?
The Chieftain. And somebody suggested, I think it was in chat, that even a fish stick would be better than a Chieftain. And ARF, quite unsurprisingly, maybe took a little bit personally and decided that no, fish sticks were not better than Chieftains. But unfortunately, Commander Dimebar, that's DIM3BAR, is running a poll on Twitter.
And the link is in the chat to vote.
Yep. Last time I checked, it was somewhere around 3-1 in favour of the fish stick. So it's possible that all of the Twitties that follow Dimebar might just possibly be trolling off a little, or maybe they just want paint jobs for their fish sticks. I mean, let's face it, fish sticks are always popular. So
this is very. That's very true. He did say at one point, he said, "Oh yeah," and it reminded me of the dropship in Ridley Scott's Alien. And I thought, yes, of course, ARF means by Ridley Scott's Alien. It means James Cameron's aliens. Yes,
indeed.
Yes, right idea on
Actually,
film.
I don't know. He might actually mean the Nostromo tug
No,
section.
because
that was big, clunky, boxy, and difficult to fly as well, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, true. But that's more like a T9.
Yeah, I would have said so.
And the Narcissus, the little shuttle, was more like
more like a hauler.
Well, a bit like a sidey, It's like sort of small wedge-shaped.
Yeah.
With its own alien, of course. Yes. So. So.
I guess it's a little bit dropshippy. Yeah, I'll grant them that.
Tis a little bit. It's the pods, isn't it? It's the the stuff sticking off the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we mentioned earlier that with Too Hot, Too Messy, 15 weeks. It just seems like forever.
Yeah, 15.
So we mentioned you can win a mug, and so we got the drum roll, Jim. You got it queued up.
This week's mug winner is Sapphire.
Yay! Is that Chariot Sapphire?
Oh God, yeah.
That put the doing work in Colonia because I've seen quite a few places.
Yeah, Sapphire's a regular. Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Congrats, Sapphire. If you want to claim your mug, and of course you want to claim it, just contact us on itookpart@huttonorbital.com.
I think our supply Sapphire was quite a few at one point.
And now we can supply them with a real one.
So if you would like to win a real mug, all you have to do is deliver 10 mugs and 10 gin during the next 7 days, and you'll be in the draw with a chance to get drawn out to win your own Hutton mug. And
if you do win a Hutton mug, send us a photograph of you with your Hutton mug, like Waller 81 did. When did he win? 3 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. Because it was retired Navy IT1 last week. When it's what's it called, live stream week, we don't talk about space stuff. But this week, NASA managed to get Artemis off the ground.
Yay!
Did it go seamlessly, or did they need to do any last-minute repairs with a honking great spanner?
In the in the time-honoured tradition of people in red uniforms are expendable. Mm-hmm. I don't know where we got that from.
Unless you're Scottish.
Yeah.
Well, what, red tartan or?
No. Scottish people. Scotty never died.
Yeah.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he did lose a finger. He got stuck in his chair. I think he lost it in D-Day or something, didn't he? Anyway, they had a hydrogen leak on Artemis, and I imagine Scotty was in the background, as they were pumping in the hydrogen fuel, and the pressure's going up, and Scotty's in the background. She can't take any more, Captain. They decided to send out what they call the Red Crew, which is basically a bunch of people in a car with the biggest spanner you've ever seen, and they tightened up Artemis's nuts. And as this thing's sort of creaking and shaking and rumbling above them as it's getting filled up with fuel, and there's smoke and dry ice and all kinds of stuff pouring off it, and it could explode at any minute. Anyway, they did that and tightened up its nuts, and it worked. And off it went.
I'm now imagining them in a dodgy old transit van with Dodgy Dave's plumbing call-outs. No job too big.
Exactly. Yeah, cowboys are us.
Actually, you misread that. When it's Dodgy Dave's plumbing, it's no jobby too big.
Disgusting.
So anyway, Artemis is up.
Woo!
And we'll be back in about 3.5 weeks.
Depends on how well it goes, I think.
Well, I'm going to say, assuming everything goes well, yeah. So
If everything goes as well now that it's up as it's gone since the original scheduled launch in, 2017?
2016, I believe.
well, Rome wasn't built in a day.
It's only 6 years late. It's fine.
You know, the thing that still really bothers me, and has since I was a small boy watching Apollo, is why did the cow not burn up on re-entry?
Maybe it never re-entered.
Good
Well, it
parachutes.
You know, you're saying it's still up
with the
there.
big triple parachutes. It was on one of those sky cranes like they use on Mars. 7 minutes of terror really was 7 minutes of terror.
No, the cow didn't burn up on re-entry because it was bought from a very high-quality steakhouse and they ordered it rare.
Oh,
Yes.
come on. You know, in space, it's Frisian.
Oh my god, can we move on? Anyway, what begins with A and ends with A?
Vark.
Aardvark! It's
Aardvark.
Aardvark!
Fuck.
So,
Aardvark.
with that time honoured, it's probably been about a year, it means it's time to introduce Flossy with the CG News.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's CG News. There were no CGs last week, so nothing to report there. New CGs beginning today, 17th of November. Xeno Peace Mission requests supplies and protect deliveries for the Kingfisher. The Kingfisher megaship has requested supplies for its planned journey to greet the first rogue signal source. Shipments of basic medicines, fruit and vegetables are required for the Kingfisher's crew, who will be joined by over 3,000 supporters of the Thargoid Advocacy Project. Moon images and semiconductors have also been requested to establish the mission's communications arrays, which are being designed to initiate contact with the Thargoids. Congressman Dalton Chase gave a press statement regarding the initiative. Now that we know the approaching anomalies are Thargoid, many are concerned that hostilities between our species will escalate. However, a brave group of volunteers see this as an opportunity to prove that diplomacy can work. An alien race has sent emissaries towards humanity's space, and it is our duty to meet them with words rather than weapons. The first of the anomalies, which we have named Taranis, is predicted to pass through Heidi's sector YOQ B5-1. Using the high-level protocols available to Congress, I have successfully obtained a temporary access restriction that grants an exclusive permit to the Kingfisher. A range of broadcasts using multiple techniques will try to attract the Thargoid's attention. Hopefully the entity will slow down long enough to give some acknowledgement of these attempts. The delivery initiative in the Undervandal system is being managed by Deutsche Elite Piloten Interstellar. In order to protect deliveries to Blankenship Hub, Deutsche Elite Piloten Interstellar is offering increased payouts on bounty voucher redemptions. The campaign begins on 17th of November and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. To earn rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before delivering basic medicines, fruit and vegetables, Muon images, semiconductors, or handing in bounty vouchers to Blenkinsop Hub in the Undervandal system. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
And now over to the Martin McFly and Doc Brown of news. It's Beetlejude and Wotherspoon with 1.21 gigawatts of Galnet news.
Galnet News Digest, 17th of November 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Thargoids are waiting, and humanity is waiting, and the Stargoids are coming.
Huge numbers of Thargoids have flocked into systems in the Coalsack Nebula that contain barnacle sites, and they're just hanging around, apparently waiting for something to happen. The upsurge in non-human signal sources was noticed on the morning of the 15th of November. It follows a similar pattern to the recent infestation in the California Nebula, with huge numbers of Thargoids turning up in barnacle-rich systems and just hanging about in large numbers. They've made no attempts to attack the starports or megaships in these systems, and while they will attack ships that drop into their location, they do not at present appear to have any purpose. Councillor Lewis Laychurch of the Alliance Expeditionary Pact in HIP 62154 admitted that the Alliance is aware that the Thargoids are unhappy with humanity plundering meta-alloys from the Thargoids' organic mining rigs. He described how the whole sky seems to be full of Thargoids, no matter where you point the scanner. With 8 Stargoids likely to arrive in human-occupied space within days, there must be a concern within Alliance circles that the Thargoids might be awaiting their opportunity to take back the California Nebula and the Coalsack Nebula from humanity. There has not yet been a noticeable uptick in the number of Thargoids in the Pleiades or the Witchhead Nebula, but the authorities in those areas too must be watching the skies with growing trepidation. In related news, the anti-Xeno organisation Azimuth Biotech, which is blamed by many for starting this new wave in the war against the Thargoids, has changed its mind about where Mbuni permits will be issued. Mbuni is important because that system's surface base, Prospects Deep, is currently the only retail outlet for Azimuth's range of anti-Xeno weaponry. Permits will be on sale aboard the Azimuth megaship Glorious Prospect as planned, but in order to make the process of obtaining a permit easier, the megaship will be stationed from Thursday in LHS 1163, which is close to Mbuni, rather than Titori, which is not. The article published by Yaro Kenyatta, Ismail Palin and Ram Tar on the 3rd of November, and the joint statement issued by Professors Albert Tesreau and Palin and Guardian expert Ram Tar on the 10th of November, have caused unease among a human population that feels powerless in the face of the Stargoids' advance. That's according to a report filed by Casey Kilpatrick from Castellan Station in Lave System. Multiple factors, including concern that the rogue signal sources, popularly known as Stargoids, might be a reaction by the Thargoids to Salvation's attempt to wipe them out in HIP 22460, and the complete lack of any ideas from the superpowers or anyone else about how to stop them, have led to protests from the systems closest to the advancing Stargoids, and to many of the inhabitants choosing to flee to the other side of the bubble. There is a huge interest in anything broadcast on Icecasts about the Stargoids, even though there seems to be relatively little new information. While Palin and his fellow authors have been criticised for their alarmist messaging, the failure of the superpowers to formulate a sensible military response to the approaching threat may be contributing just as much to the growing sense of panic. The scientists' supporters have suggested that there would be little point trying to sugarcoat the pill, and that perhaps humanity needs to develop a sense of concern to kickstart it into doing something. There are at least some signs that independent systems are starting to prepare a military response, but the superpowers' response remains poorly coordinated. The coming of the Stargoids has started causing violent swings in the prices of some goods as citizens start stocking up and perhaps preparing to fight or flee. The Bank of Zeons has issued a warning that there is a risk of recession as production gets hit by increasing costs and unstable demands. But there is scope too for profiteering as the supply and demand of some goods becomes harder to predict. In what may be good news for explorers, Vista Genomics is in talks with Professor Palin about sharing its genetic database so that other ways of combating the Stargoids can be researched. If it goes through, the price that Vista is willing to pay for new genetic information may increase significantly in the coming days and weeks. Gilpatrick's report concludes by saying that, in the absence of anything positive that we can achieve, all humanity can do is to sit and wait for the Stargoids to arrive. While Palin believes he knows that the signals are Thargoid, he has no means of knowing what they will do when they arrive. Will they be huge motherships? Will they dominate entire systems, in the way HIP 22460 has been claimed by the Thargoids? Are they carrying Thargoid foot soldiers who could take over starports, outposts and settlements? Are they simply planning to obliterate humanity from the face of the galaxy? When the 8 Stargoids arrive, which best estimates say will be in the next 2 weeks, we will all find out together.
And that's this week's Waiting for the Stargoids news. Waiting for the Stargoids news. We wait for the Stargoids, but unfortunately, you have to wait as well.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlejuice and Wotherspoon. And now over to someone else who makes you want to go back in time and make some changes. It's Mia Harkness with the Hutton Helper results.
Welcome to the Hutton Helper results. The Hutton Helper results are sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with an empty address book, because it's National Unfriend Day. This week we have the following events: the Massive Huff at the Edge of the Galaxy Cup, the Discounts Are For People I Like, So You Will Pay Full Price, Tournament of Tournaments, the What Did Your Last Servant Die Of Deja Vu Trophy, the I'm Not Disappointed, I'm Just Angry Charity Shield, the It's All Fun and Games Until Someone Loses Their Shields Spectacular, and the Putting on the Radio So We Don't Have to Talk in the Apex Award. So, tell them what you really think, no gaslighting, and don't hold back. The Hutton Helper results are: Tovera jumped 39,000 light years to come first in distance travelled. A radish sold 42,000 tonnes of cargo. Montgomery Python is top mission runner with 215 mission points. Alex Zuno handed in 21 credits worth of bounty, so 1021. Crash Harper handed in a gargantuan 10 billion 949,800,000 credits of combat bonds, and Nazgul NZGL delivered 2,270 people to their various destinations. So, decals for A. Radish, Crash Harper, NZGL, and pre-cooked bacon 87 for systems visited. Please email I took part at huttonorbital.com. Oh dear. And arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of an individual fruit trifle, a book on how to make friends and influence people, and a DIY decal kit, because you're going to have to do it yourself. There have been 33 Hutton runs in the last 7 days. And the top 5 are Impala Mark, 1 hour 22 minutes and 46 seconds. Cor Badger, 1 hour 23 minutes and 40 seconds. Dintosh, 1 hour 23 minutes 55 seconds. Uber Dave 5993, 1 hour 24 minutes and 2 seconds. And Hermes of the Seventh Heaven, with 1 hour 24 minutes and 10 seconds. Anyway, there's a whole galaxy of stuff out there needing unfriended, ejected, appointed, manhandled or woman-handled, smeared, deflected, irrigated, sniffed, snuffled, postponed, hidden from, flipped, mistranslated to and from Spanish, chilled, mugged, ginned, shipshot, rescued, tickled, looted, repaired, destroyed, bought, sold, squeezed, inflated, burnt, frozen, liquidated, evaporated, sandblasted, smelled, licked, discombobulated, recombobulated, polished, headbutted, rubbed, compressed, enveloped, strained, fermented, murderized with an S, interrobanged, upcycled, violently downcycled, smelted, loved, adored, cherished, and propagated. And you can earn yourself a very fetching Hutton decal for doing it. To get involved, you just have to go to hot.forthemug.com and download or sign up for the frankly spectacular Hutton Helper, available in 3 exciting formats. Let's face it, anything has to be better than having to socialise with actual people. Speaking of which, back to Studio 5.
Thank you, Mia. I do have a question about all of that, though. With the things that need to be unfriended, ejected, appointed, manhandled, or woman-handled, smeared, etc., do you have to do all of those in that specific order to them, or can you cherry-pick which ones you want to do to any particular item or person?
You can cherry-pick, but I'd think less of you.
Alright, so it's encouraged that you do them all in that order, then?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I noticed you had a new one this week.
I always had a new one every week.
Yeah. And Terabanged. I know where you got that one from.
And Terabanged has been there for ages and ages.
Oh,
yeah, and Terabanged's been in there for ages.
Maybe I just noticed it because I only heard it last week in the quiz.
Right before upcycled and then violently downcycled, by which I mean destroyed.
First time I've noticed it.
Oh yeah, and Terabanged's been in there. The new word was unfriended this week.
You also had polished added as well.
Yeah. Sorry?
Polished was added as well.
Did you add polished? Did I read polished out and not even know?
Discombobulated, recombobulated, polished, head-buttered, rubbed. It's great. You can put anything in there and he just reads it.
Yeah.
That's Polish. It was polished.
Polished.
No,
yes.
No, it's lowercase p.
Are you a pole vaulter? My name is Fritz and I'm a German. Anyway.
Yes. No, or the Chick Murray version. No, I'm a German and how did you know my name was Volter?
No, I'm not saying somebody's hogging the medium pad at Hutton Orbital, but somebody is hogging the medium pad at Hutton Orbital.
That'll be an Apex.
It's not. I can see who it is.
Oh, really? Who is it?
Not telling you.
We need a live camera feed.
I'm just going to check to see if they're in the chat.
I think we should set up a live camera feed for next time.
Pretty sure I saw them in the... Yes, they are. They were in the chat earlier. Are they still in the chat now?
Then. That's perfectly acceptable then. It means that they're doing something far more important. They're listening to the show.
Yeah.
That's okay. You just have to wait.
Stop hugging the medium pad.
You know what I've found to clear? See if you go to a station and there's an NPC in one of the pads. I've found a way. I found a less violent way. Nope. What you do is you select that ship that's in the hangar, and you let your ship scan it, and then you request landing again, and they'll immediately get up and leave. It's one of those ones. So what you do is you go in, you request landing. It'll go, no, you can't land. There's a ship in the pad, and you go, And then what you do is you find that ship. So you know how you get the wee diamond shape. You click on it, and your ship will do that scanning thing, and it will scan their ship.
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, you ask for landing again, and then just watch, and it'll come out of the hangar, leave, and you're next on.
Well, I've highlighted Commander for some time now, and he's...
Yeah, but that's an actual commander. That's not an NPC. What's an NPCs?
One method which works a lot, 99% of the time, is as soon as you enter the drop in the instance, boost. You boost straight away, then request docking, and 99 times out of 100 you actually get it straight away.
Yeah,
because you beat the
NPCs,
automatic NPC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they've not been generated. I see that. Yeah.
But he's definitely right. I'm gonna screenshot it.
My way seems to work because I've done that thing where I'm going to try this and see if it works, and I've done it so many times. It's just a thing I do now, and it always works.
Yeah.
It's never failed to work. There's never been the time where I've done that and it hasn't worked.
Right.
So I just think it must be a thing.
So the only time it doesn't is if it's a commander.
The pad hogger is being named and shamed in the... Where is it? Where's the picture?
And see everybody saying it's not me.
Well, I know. I know it's not you.
Not me.
No, I can see everybody in chat going, not me.
Guilty conscience. Is this... I can't see the freaking picture. Is that it? Must be.
So you've taken a picture to name and shame them, but you won't give the name out on air.
Well, that's not fair.
Very civil of you.
But if you all look in the bulletin, you can see who it is, because he was in the chat earlier.
In the bulletin?
Yeah. Hutton bulletin.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Oh, the thing.
Yeah. Now you know who it is. So he's not moving. He's AFK. At the bar, getting smashed. Probably asleep on one of the chairs.
Yeah, come on, Servalan, that's not fair.
You terrible
The Supreme Commander.
Terrible person, you.
You want me to send them a message on?
No,
help her?
No, I'll just relog, I think.
The last thing Servalan said in the chat was words
a while ago.
"Get off my land." Shouldn't that be "Get off my landing pad"?
Pad. Right, never mind. I've relogged.
Yeah, we can hear you typing.
That's me.
That's me.
He's punishing his keyboard for being bad.
Servalan has been notified. Chick says, "Get your pad off the get your ship off the medium pad."
Well, he's actually in the hangar.
Wonder if we should have that in feature request for the helper.
I think that's.
Going in the hangar does not clear the pad. That's long been.
That's right.
No, it doesn't.
So I assume he's fallen asleep, or he's.
But I think a lot of people think it is.
Yeah, or he thinks he's cleared the pad because he's in the hangar.
Even if you disembark, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, he might even be waiting for the next gin cycle. Ooh, what's that? Oh, no, I've dropped back in the same instance. Oh, no.
Style flip to solo.
Solo, yeah.
Or private group if you're in open.
You know what?
Or open if you're in PG.
You're going to need a smaller boat.
Yeah, Billy No Mates.
Yeah, but smaller boats can't take all the cargo, can they now?
Well, have to get
42 and 60.
Well,
no, it's 68 and 42.
Dolphin will work.
God, no.
Can you get 100 cargo in a Dolphin?
74.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah, I think I had it up about 74.
Yeah,
I suppose in 10 minutes you can do 2 runs, so you just
exactly.
It's-
You'd be
cycle.
27.
Yeah, it is an awful
37,
lot
37.
for a ship that size, for a small ship. It's amazing
Anyway.
cargo capacity.
I'm now in solo. I'm now Billy No Mates.
Yes. Well, do you know what I think? I think there's probably only one more thing to do now.
Hang on. Does it require adjusting of headphones?
Yeah, you might want to fire off the klaxon.
So who's doing the shout this week?
I think possibly Helen likes to do it, didn't you?
But I better not, because obviously he'll be behind me watching telly.
Okay.
He'll only shout at me.
In that case, for the mug!
What do you use that
For
klaxon
that
if then it
mug.
was you?
Yeah.
For the mug.
Thanks. For the mug!
For the mug.
Mug!
Oh, we're getting that one again.
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. Give me a large pad that I can land on, and I'll give you my cargo and sing you my song. North Part 22 light years to go. Cruising to Hutton, whoa, whoa, whoa. No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?
Seamless.